Again, I'm a voyeur, so I love it. I'll watch it.
It was definitely
sideshows that would come in and stuff. Do you still do those?
Yeah.
like this. Oh, and the butterflies, before you get on, you're waiting in line. Yo, what up, shoppers? Joe Sabino here with
Marilu.
Yay!
Yay!
And Bubbles and Migote and Mer Sausage and Victor and John.
Everyone's in. Just about.
Just about. Mer Sausage sends greetings from the Buckeye State, aka Ohio, which was a little disturbing to learn that I think it's Gen Z, maybe, uses the word Ohio to mean something is weird. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes. What's up, Keith? Keith being in the house. I'm not sure why exactly this is the case, but seeing Keith on here reminded me to say that that the Slut Union is going to be at Pride Fest this year.
Yay!
So maybe because Keith's a big slut.
Mm.
Actually, I don't know that for a fact. What's up, Steven?
Hello, Steven. So actually, it's Gen Z and Gen Alpha who say the word Ohio means weird. That something's awry, something is weird. Probably because we have so many serial killers out of Ohio.
I did hear that particular explanation as to the reason why.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying that is the reason. I'm just saying I heard that as a reason. I don't know that anybody from either one of those generations have any idea why it's called Ohio. I think somebody just called it that once and it caught on. Kind of like, for sure.
Maybe. It's weird though.
I don't know. Anybody watching?
You're in Ohio.
Yeah, anybody watching use the word Ohio to mean something is weird? I'm just curious. Would make sense. Marilu, well, I'm from Ohio. Marilu is an Ohio transplant. So
yes,
I'm pretty fucking weird. I guess there's not many people that can say they open up a club like the Shop. I would say if you were to talk to all 7-point Migote, that's so disappointing to hear. So Migote uses Ohio to mean weird.
Well, that would be Ohio.
Ohio. If you're Puerto Rican Gen Z or Gen Alpha, it's Ohio. Victor says you either go to heaven or Ohio. Now, Victor, correct me if I'm wrong. Are you from the great state of Ohio as well? I think that was my understanding, because I think Victor used to go to the Canton Club, didn't he?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, while we're waiting...
But you know why that came to be, right?
Obviously, I don't.
Okay. So, during 21-22, there was a lot of memes where people were just kind of putting like obscure, absurd things into social media with the tag "only in Ohio." So it came.
Now that makes a little more sense.
Yeah. So then it came to be kind of like, okay, well, if it's that effed up, it must be from Ohio. Hey, I walked to school in Ohio my whole life. What do you mean?
Listen, I walked to school. I rode the regional transit bus to school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've driven to school. I've ridden my bike to school.
Mm-hmm. Did all that stuff. Our
I don't think I've
generation.
ever fucked on my way to school.
Oh, mm.
Okay.
Okay.
So Victor was born in Phoenix, Arizona, and I have to say, Phoenix literally keeps coming up in my life. I'm not sure why,
Yes, it
but
does.
randomly. So Victor was born in Phoenix, Arizona, but raised in Akron, Ohio. And yes, the Canton Club was their first introduction. So Mirth Sausage has an interesting question.
I don't know where to go with that one.
Mirth Sausage wants to know if the members at the Ohio Club inserted Buckeyes instead of marbles.
I don't know. Wouldn't that be ping pong balls?
Um,
Like, I don't know.
I've literally seen that once in my life unintentionally.
Oh, unintentionally.
Well, when I was very, very young, my friends and I went to a strip bar, and that apparently, unbeknownst to us, any of us,
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the dancers' features,
Specialized skills.
specialized skill. Yes.
Okay.
Uh, I still have questions too, Migote. I'm with you on the. I think. So I'm kind of jumping to anal beads, Benoit balls.
Um, maybe. I
Yeah,
mean, the minute
any
anyone,
experience with either one of those, Mary? Anal beads or Benoit balls?
no,
No.
no. I mean, not me as in me receiving, but me rather me um imparting on someone else.
Victor says marbles going smoother than Buckeyes, but yes, life is hard in Ohio.
Oh my god. See, I mean, when I just read that, I immediately went to the movie Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and the girl with which the Australian cowboy has to hide ping pong balls in the cabinets in their kitchen and put a lock on it, so that she won't go to the local bar to do that.
What?
Exactly. If you've ever watched Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've
The bar
never
scene.
seen that, so I am completely and utterly perplexed at this
And we're
point.
gonna make you watch that.
Oh Jesus! Like in Clockwork Orange, make me watch it.
Uh, I don't know.
Big Bacchus says that they heard Ohio is the Riviera of the Midwest. Um, I think there's a strong argument that could be made for that.
I mean, yeah.
I would suggest that the shores of the northern shores of Ohio on Lake Erie are definitely would put it in that class.
That is true. I will say that.
There are a lot of wonderful beaches in Ohio,
Mhm.
and just going to do a quick shout out or plug for Put-in Bay, Ohio, for anybody who's never been. I think that's a once in a lifetime trip. You should at least try it once.
Yes.
If you're within, I would say 4 to 5 hours drive of Put-in Bay, it should be if not a day trip, I think you should at least stay overnight 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
If you're a little closer, maybe a couple hours away, you could do it as a day trip.
Mm-hmm.
I've certainly done that.
Yeah, because the last ferry leaves at midnight. Well,
Mm-hmm.
1 in the morning now. It
Mm,
used to be midnight.
the Jet Express.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
You're glitching. Click, click.
That's so interesting because I was playing around with my camera today and I was going to update or not update, but change my camera. And I
Mhm.
didn't like how it looked, so I put it back. So it's kind of freaked me out there for a second.
You may have hit a wire or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Eh,
I did want to talk about a couple things. You and I were discussing some things earlier. Um, I'd like to talk tonight a little bit about one of the most common STD, STIs there are.
Amigo Taylor's putting bay.
Ah, Migo T's been, I assume.
Uh-huh.
um, I'm not. Oh, Victor says they never went. I haven't been to Put in Bay. I think you and I were together the last time I was there. What
You're
is going
glitching.
on right now?
You're glitching. Something. You're touching something, or maybe one of your
No, I'm
cords.
literally standing here. I'm not touching the thing.
Well, maybe one of your cords isn't all the way in.
All right, hold on. Let me look.
Ah.
Ah! Listen, if I disappear, I'll try to make it back.
Okay.
You might be carrying the show the rest of the night, Mary. Though. Can you hear me?
So go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, so I want to talk about that. A little bit about polyamory
Okay.
and pornography.
Okay.
For the 15 people that are watching, which one would you like to talk about first? Actually, I want to talk about STD, STIs first. Specifically, genital warts, HPV.
Okay. Well, HPV, yes, you can have genital warts come from HPV, but it is not the one primary thing.
No, I think that because we are a sex positive community, it's important to talk about these things, and because HPV is so common and prevalent, I think a lot of people just sort of forget or ignore that it's even there.
Mm-hmm.
And um, there's some statistics that suggest that virtually all human beings, or a very very high percentage of human beings, have some form or strain of HPV, or have had or been exposed to. And just wondering if there was if you had any thoughts on that.
Well, considering that you don't need to have sex to get HPV per se,
Yes.
um, I would say that, and because there are over 100 strains of it, I would say that easily 90% of the population has had it at one point or another in their life. You know?
It's just I think it's just important for people to kind of keep that front of mind, especially if when you're interacting with other people in an intimate manner,
Mhm.
that's a strong possibility. um, you mentioned that sex is not the only other way. um, when I was very young, I was a wrestler in high school and contracted plantar's warts.
Mhm.
And I was much, much, much older. So first of all, I was told that you get them typically from locker rooms and stuff, and when you're wrestling in gym and stuff, you typically shower afterwards. And when I was young, shower shoes were not a thing, or at least not
Mhm.
something that you thought about. And so at a very young age, I was exposed to and learning much later in life that plantar's warts are just another strain of HPV.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, and the one thing that they'll tell you, because there are so many strains of it, acknowledging that, yeah, plantar's warts is an actual form of HPV.
Hmm.
Um, you know, most people will not experience any symptoms behind it.
Right.
And also, your immune system will naturally clear it within a 2-year period if you
Right.
don't actually go in and get antibiotics or something for it.
Have it removed.
have it removed in the sense of a wart, you're saying.
Correct.
But what
Yes.
I'm saying is in reference
HPV
to,
in general.
HPV in general, and it being contracted by women. If it is something that comes back on your pap smear, then they do a LEAP procedure to remove the bacteria and the strains from your cervix. Is it the end of the world? For most people, no, because most people don't even know they have it.
Right.
You know, only if and when at times it does um, cause genital warts, and or in rare cases it can cause cancer, primarily in women.
Yeah.
No, but it is the most common STI. No.
Yeah. So just something to consider for those of you who are um, sexually active and sex positive, and perhaps have multiple partners, just something to keep in mind, or at least at a minimum, have a discussion about.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
um,
You know what's odd about it though?
mm,
There is no testing for it for men,
mm,
only for women. Because again, the male population generally does not show any symptoms
right.
to the extreme that women do.
We're just dirty, dirty animals.
But again,
Disease spreading whores.
yeah,
No,
shame, shame, shame.
it. The reason I bring it up is that it
Mm-hmm.
can, for some people, there may be shame involved with it, or feel like they're, hey Heidi, feel like maybe there's um, dirtiness about it or whatever, and that's true for many STD STIs. That's kind of a big deal, and
Mm-hmm.
so um, it's just important to bear in mind um, that these are all possibilities. So
Mm-hmm.
it's one of the reasons that we have central outreach here at the club. Well, at least used to be on a monthly basis to do STD STI screening and testing. Um, Something to consider. We Something to consider, at least for some protection, are looking into PrEP products,
Mm-hmm.
um, things like
Doxytype as well.
Apertude. You can get a shot that helps protect you against HIV. In fact, it would render you virtually transmissionless. I don't think they say that specifically, but it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty darn near close. And even for people that were initially exposed to HIV, can become undetectable
Mm-hmm.
on PrEP products. And
Correct.
that's something you can get through central outreach also. Yeah.
That
So,
yeah.
yeah, Heidi says that they work in the medical field and they see a lot of HPV cases, more than any other STI or STD. Yeah, it's just, and as Mary Lou said, it's virtually undetectable in most humans. So, but I'll tell you, I think I know what the issue is. Hold on.
Why she's gonna go off screen. Psst. No. And the thing is that if you don't know that you have HPV, especially since there is no test for males, um, as partners, you just keep giving it to each other back and forth until one of you actually, gets on some type of medication.
I'm sorry, we're talking about HPV or BV?
HPV,
Oh, okay.
that since the majority of people don't even know that they have it, they just keep spreading it back to their partners, over and over again. See what that's what you get for playing with your camera. Leave it alone.
I think it's time to change subjects. I think that's what my
Okay.
camera is trying to suggest.
Okay. So that was our
Hold on,
STI
I'm gonna
awareness.
slide off camera for just a second.
Okay. I don't know what you're gonna do. But. So actually, last week was sexual health awareness week. So
Yes.
That's why we figured we would kind of touch on that one today as a subject.
Yeah. Super important.
Yeah.
Well, let's can we move on to things something like, I don't know, you want to talk about polyamory or pornography first? We'll let these guys decide. What do we want to move into?
Do you want to talk about what we did last weekend?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, since you seem to have the subject matter in line, then why don't you start the conversation out?
I guess we could talk a little bit about this past weekend. It was Freaky Friday. I mean, it's our monthly kink centric night.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Central Outreach was not here this past weekend just because of, I think, some budgetary issues potentially, or just we've talked about it before.
Yes.
And so we are still currently working on a solution, and so we're hoping sometime in the very Bubble says pornography and John says polyamory. Well,
Okay.
so far we're 1 for 1.
There we go.
We'll keep talking about last weekend until we land on one. And then Saturday, Marilu.
Saturday was our Wonderland party, which was kind of cute because seeing people actually dressed up as bunnies and or Wonderland style-ish characters and so forth, with the top hats and everything. So, hello, Jason. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a good time. Again, considering that yesterday was Easter, it was a good showing on both nights. Oh, Polly! Everyone started talking about Polly.
If my camera stays going, we'll talk about Polly.
Oh,
No.
it's on. You're good.
Yeah.
So
yeah, just really quick, I want to touch on this past weekend also. Yeah, so Wonderland was good. Actually, I was really, really happy to see so many people actually dress in theme or try to be a part of the theme, which it seems like has been a lot more lately. As we do these themed events, we get more participation.
Also wanted to thank DJ Elo for being here Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Had a lot of people out on the dance floor as well. So that's always a good time. Just getting the right vibe and.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to touch on Easter Sunday really quick. So Mary Lou and I took a quick trip into Cleveland, which is where I am from originally, to spend some time with family. And so I've mentioned on previous live streams that Mary Lou is 100% Puerto Rican, which means so is her mother. And so we go to Cleveland to visit Mama Ocasio. And if you're familiar with sort of like Italian, Latino cultures, you don't walk into somebody's house and not eat.
True.
And now it could be literally any random day. Like if it's a Tuesday and we decide we're going to go to Cleveland, we're going to stop and see your mom, bet there's food that's going to be eaten when we go. Doesn't matter if we show up at 11 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, or 7 o'clock at night, there will be food to eat.
Yeah.
Now, let's now imagine it's Easter Sunday and Mama Ocasio has been cooking since seemingly 2 weeks prior to get ready for Sunday Easter for 3 people.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, it's Easter Sunday. So just like every other, married couple, it's you have to pick one family or the other, or you do both and you make it work. So we walked into my mom's house at 12:47 p.m. and we're eating brunch by 1 p.m.
Yes. Ham. Hold on. Jamon, arroz, papas ensalada, and dolce.
Dolce. That's Italian.
Oh, whatever. Okay.
Dulce.
Dulce.
Dul.
¿Qué?
Dulce.
Dulce.
Yeah, like D-U-L-C.
Oh, like dulce.
Dulce.
Got it. Yeah, so we do that and eat. I think I had 3 plates.
You did.
Now, I actually do that strategically. I put a little less on my plate because normally I just put a lot of food on my plate and then I eat it all in 7.5 minutes. And then her mother's asking me, "What's up, Zoe Licious?"
Hey.
Um, her mother's asking me if I like her food. And I'm like, "Well, yeah, of course. It's delicious." She's like, "Well, why eat more?"
Why did you only serve yourself one plate?
Yes. So I've learned to, yes, Bubbles, yes. Listen, she would love to have a bunch of people come over and eat. Yes. So I
No, but he
3
was the
smaller plates.
yeah. So you portioned your meals out so that it appeared like instead of one plate, you had 3 plates. So she was like, "Oh, she ate a lot today."
Yeah. No, she legit didn't ask me if I was going to eat anymore. So
So she
I
did.
figured out how to game the Mama Ocasio, you didn't eat enough system.
Yes. Finally, after all these years.
Zoe Licious, we were just talking about Central Outreach about 5-10 minutes ago.
Yes.
So maybe we should talk later.
Yeah. But here was the funny thing. On like Friday, my mom's like, I gave her a call and she's like, "Hey, just so you know, like, I'm gonna switch it up this time and not have uh lechon asado, pernil, or a roast, pig roast. For the meal, I'm gonna do ham." And I'm like, "Well, it's still pork." And she's like, "But it's just no, one's pernil and one is ham." And I'm like, "Okay, one is jamon and one is jamon. It doesn't matter. You're still feeding." But she was trying to make it seem like, "Oh, we're going a different route this year. We're not doing this." And I'm like,
Well, you're
"But it's
ignoring the fact that in years prior, she would make ham and roasted pork
yeah.
along with,
Oh, and turkey.
yeah, along with the potato salad and rice and the not the yuca. And then what's the
Yes.
stuff with the gizzards in it? I can't remember.
Oh, yo estoy bien. ¿Cómo está, mi amor? Ronnie's in the house.
Just
Um, you're
just really
talking
quick, we're going to
about.
be seeing Ronnie this coming Saturday in Jamaica.
Yes, we are. Yeah. You're talking about the escabeche, the
Escamate,
guineo,
yeah. Yes, yes, yes,
the
yes.
plantains, in olive oil with onions and garlic and chicken gizzards.
Now, mind you, she cooks for 50 to 60 people when there's normally just 2 to 4 people.
Yeah. I mean, and that all depends if, my brother or somebody else shows up. But then there's always takeovers, leftovers for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, we get. I'm not going to complain. This is zero complaint. And Mama Rosa, if you're watching, I love you and I love your food. Thank you. I know she sneak watches our show.
Yes.
Um,
And
yeah.
then
Oh
we
yeah.
had.
So okay. So we eat. Now normally after we eat, I completely pass out because I'm just already fucking stuffed. But that was Mary Lou this time. I just sat. We watched what, Flow?
Flo.
Yeah, we watched the movie Flow. Yes, Ronnie. You should. You should go to Cleveland with us next time you're here. Actually, we just talked about this.
We did.
Yeah.
Bubbles,
Bubbles.
I get you. I totally, and I know that was her thinking as well. But I was still kind of like, well, it's still pork. I was thinking she was gonna be like, "I'm gonna make some steaks or something different or ribs." No, well, ribs would still be pork. Well,
We're
listen,
talking way too long about Easter.
I
Let's
know.
just so we ate at her mom's. Mary Lou passed out on the couch while watching Flow. Then 4:30 rolls around and we have to drive to my brother's house for another dinner.
with ham.
ham, scallop potatoes, not potato salad,
Right.
green beans. I don't know what else.
Pasta.
Yeah, pasta. Yeah,
Pasta olio.
yeah. So, and then dessert
Yeah.
again.
Again.
I felt disgustingly stuffed.
Well, when we got back to my mom's house, we both just sat on the couch like.
I'm going to give everybody here one guess as to the only question her mother asked us after we sat down on the couch, after having eaten twice already, what her one and only question was.
We'll give you guys a few minutes to think
Yeah.
about that one.
I'll give you some body shot points if you can guess this one.
But then, of course, boom, here we are back in Pittsburgh.
Yes. So we were going to talk about pornography or polyamory, and polyamory won this out. So
Okay.
The reason I wanted to talk about polyamory. What? No, Ronnie. No. So then, okay, last thing about this. Last night after 8, I was like, listen, I'm done eating.
Question.
Huh?
He's answering the question.
Oh, yes. Are you hungry? Yes. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Yes. And then more sausage, breakfast heads. Literally, I'm getting ready to say. I wasn't even going to eat. I was going to fast for the rest of the week. And then breakfast this morning. Of course, I get an omelet with, guess what in it? Pork.
Well, and I'm going to say, Ronnie got the question right. So did Bubbles, and so did John, about being hungry for more.
Migote.
Yes.
Oh, yes. If I had said that, anything, it could have literally been coffee. Would you like a coffee? You want some dessert? You want some more arroz? Anything.
Yes.
All of it.
All of it. So take note of who to give points to.
I didn't say how much. I'll give him 69 points. How's
that? Oh. So, okay. So what's our next subject here?
Polyamory. So I am going to talk just very, very briefly about pornography because it's going to lead us into polyamory. I know. Strange connection. So I was watching a little bit of a clip from a podcast that I watch. Yes, Ronnie, you do get in for free. And we're not doing 69. And they were talking about pornography, and the guest on the podcast was suggesting rather strongly that pornography was terrible. And we've talked about pornography on the live stream before, and we've debated whether or not it's bad or good. But one of the reasons that they suggest that it's not such a good thing is because it makes it seem, or makes sex more accessible, therefore making the desire or drive to be in a relationship with another person less so, suggesting that the sex drive creates the connection, which I think is a really interesting point to make. So that led me to think, okay, what about polyamory? Meaning, if and just for a little bit of framing, this person is very much like a family oriented type person, meaning that they believe in the family structure, traditional family structure, for whatever that's worth. So I'm curious about polyamory. And Marilu, you were talking about a show that's coming on, I think TLC maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what the name of it is, but it's a sort of a documentary type show, or a
reality series.
Show. Yeah, reality show about two couples who are in a polyamorous relationship with each other. And so I'm just curious if people think that polyamory fits sort of in that same sort of bucket as being less family oriented and therefore potentially, um, I don't know, corrupting traditional family structures. I don't know. I guess I'm just wondering. I think, Mary Lou, what are your thoughts?
Okay.
That was a really rough tie-in.
That yes, that was very very posh there.
Yes.
So basically, okay, so you were watching a stream today in which the person being interviewed was discussing pornography and saying that um, pornography was a bad thing for relationships because it's teaching people instant gratification, self gratification, first and foremost. And because of that, then people are less apt to want to create relationships, family relationships for procreation more so. Okay. And
Yes.
they're not genuinely putting themselves out there um, to find a mate.
More or less.
More or less.
That's what they are suggesting.
That's what they were suggesting. So um, we kind of, from there, I kind of went into, well, what about polyamory? You know, that in itself is another, relationship style. And it depends on how that polycule is set up,
Mhm.
whether there is procreation or not.
Yeah, and I think there are so many more mitigating factors to whether or not people are having children.
Right.
I think back to on my dad's side of the family, my mom's side of the family. I mean, my mom and dad had tons of brothers and sisters. For me, I have two brothers, and as it seems generationally, the number of children decreases, but ignoring the fact that it's expensive as fuck to, number one, live on your own, let alone with another person or two other people, or if you're from a traditional Irish Catholic
Mm-hmm.
family, you might have 8 or 10 kids.
Right.
I know somebody personally my age that has that many kids.
Yeah.
So
my argument to it was, well, there's a new show on TLC called Polyfamily,
mhm.
and it's two married couples who have joined together to be in a polyamorous relationship. So they're in the same household. Their children live together. They're raised by all four of them simultaneously. And to the point now where, they consider themselves to be a closed quad. Okay. But in one of the little shorts, it, or I should say one of the spoilers was that uh, one of the wives uh, was pregnant, and because um, they're all sharing each other, there wasn't a concern as to who was the father per se of this child. So,
until
huh?
until
Until there was blood work that needed to be done for this baby that was born due to some medical concerns, in which then, because of the nurses disclosing the blood type, they realized who was the father, and it wasn't the one that thought that they were the father.
So that's really so. I'm gonna use this opportunity to talk about Open, the organization Open.
Mm-hmm.
It's an organization for polyamory and ethical non-monogamy, and they're a nonprofit organization, and their primary purpose is to help um, not just legalize but destigmatize polyamorous relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And as you were saying that, I was thinking, okay, here you have two families, two couples who are now
One, two families that are now one.
right. I'm
You
sorry,
know.
two couples. I said
Mm-hmm.
two families. I meant two couples living together as a family, now raising children, or at least one child that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
And it would almost make sense, especially considering how expensive things can be, that it would almost make sense to make it permissible and or legal, to have, because marriage is really just a legal document. It's a legal partnership between two people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it wouldn't be out of the question to have that. I mean, if you and I started a business together, we could have 10 or 15 partners in it if we wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Might be more than we'd want or would absolutely care for, but um, why can't they be the same for family structure?
Right. No. So Migo Tay says, as someone living in with a nesting partners, honestly, we have less sex now and more deep connections now than when we didn't live together. But also, in the terms of a traditional family structure, kids are still on the table for us if we choose to in the future. But that's something that we discussed beforehand.
Right.
So going back to um, the original concept at hand, which was that pornography was bad and it's not allowing for people to create relationships, in the manner that everyone thinks of relationships traditionally, then, why would this person take polyamorous relationships off the table or any other type of relationship off the table? If pornography is a bad thing, then pornography is a bad thing, period. No, but we know that there are still people out there, and doesn't matter what relationship style they're in, you know, as long as everyone is on the same terms,
Right.
they're looking to procreate and have children,
Right.
you know, pornography or not.
And I'm wondering now out loud, when it comes to polyamorous relationships, you and I come from more traditional families where, there's that mom dad sort of family structure.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this romanticized version of relationships where these, and I'm speaking from my own personal experience and
Mm-hmm.
having felt this way, is wanting or expecting or wanting your partner to fulfill all of the aspects of your life, to, I don't know, to feel like it's a valid relationship. I don't know if I may be not saying it exactly as I mean it.
Mm-hmm.
But I get the sense that being in a polyamorous relationship allows for other people to fill some of those holes, so to speak. And I don't mean that in a naughty way at all, although it sounds funny to say out loud.
Oh.
Um, because it is difficult to expect one single person, to be all things that you would want or need in a relationship, especially considering that they're trying to manage their own wants and needs as well. So I think there's a very, very strong argument to be made for polyamorous style relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and probably um, are much stronger than more traditional styles, if done in a loving and caring way.
Yeah. Um,
What are your thoughts?
I totally see that, but again, not keeping out, um, just couples in themselves. Everyone has to be on the same page, and everyone has to, have those discussions on what it is that they want out of life, and have the understanding that, yeah, maybe, you know, um, you could be the yin to my yang, but that doesn't mean that, uh, you have all the sauce that I need, if that makes sense. you know,
All the sauce
yeah, the
that I
special
need.
sauce,
Yes. Yeah. Some people like more sauce than others, right?
yeah. Uh, see. Okay, so Amigo Tay says yes. Obviously, I am there in any way and capacity I can for any of my partners, but also I can lean more into certain aspects of each relationship and cherish each of them more. Okay. And Big Bacchus says the notion of one partner fulfilling all roles is very much a 20th century idea. Before, a romantic partner was more often solely that. Um, and I totally agree with both of those. Um, I sometimes I would laugh at when I was still in the corporate world where certain people in the office would be like, "Oh, well, this is my work husband. This is my work wife,"
Hmm.
and I would look at them and be like, "You realize what you're saying?" And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, You're open to loving somebody else that can fulfill your needs in a way that your spouse can't." And they'd be like, "No, I'm not. I'm just joking around. Like they're my, work husband, my blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you lean on this person at work to help you through your day and to help you get things done, and vice versa. Blah blah blah. You know, why can't you be open to that outside of work?"
Right.
There's different people that come into your lives that at one point or another are going to have a deeper, more profound understanding than maybe your own partner does of who you are. And they can fulfill that a particular need that way. You know,
Yeah, those
we,
certain aspects, yes.
yes. And we may not all be like, oh, that we're all poly, but we all experience that.
Right.
So, why judge someone else's relationship status, because they might be sharing a little bit more spiciness than, your work wife or work husband is.
Yeah, let's be careful on the spiciness with the
Yeah.
work partners.
Yes. And John says he agrees with both Migote and Bacchus on their statements there. But yeah,
And he
it's
hold on, he likes the sauce also.
he likes the sauce also, yes. But I just thought when you first brought up this subject, I was kind of like, I'm confused. I I understand what he's saying about um pornography being bad and being self-serving, and you know um if you can have pornography and take care of yourself, why would you be willing to uh you know put yourself out there to find a relationship or find someone to be with? Because obviously, from his standpoint, the newer generations are more self-sufficient and they don't necessarily need a husband or a wife in that traditional sense.
Yeah, I'm certainly I have zero scientific acumen, and so for me to suggest that there's some sort of physiological drive if you're masturbating to porn all the time or once a day or whatever, and not I still think that despite that, the sexual aspect of it, which I'm gonna make another argument for ethical non-monogamy, is fighting against your biology to
Mhm.
procreate in that way with numerous partners. I'm only suggesting that that's a part of our DNA. Um, being in a polytype relationship probably makes more sense than not. And you did the Sex at Dawn book as your first
Mhm.
book club book. It talks heavily about communities being very much poly in that regard. Tribes and small communities where most everything was shared.
Yeah.
And the notion of it takes a village to raise a child. Well, I think it takes a village to raise a village.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking for this. There was a study that came out. I saw it like a week or two ago.
well,
And
anyway, so to push back against that person's sort of
yeah.
thoughts, I think that there's still that drive for connection with somebody, and Amigo Tay mentioned it earlier, that the fact that they now are living together, it's changed the sexual dynamic of it a bit,
Mhm.
and there's a more deeper connection. And Mary Lou, you and I talk about this. When you have a much deeper emotional connection with somebody, it really does make the sex that much more meaningful and
Mhm.
fulfilling. And so um, I'm going to push it. I'm going to push back against that particular notion that pornography is the downfall of traditional family structure.
Mm.
Officially, that's my official statement, sir.
That's your official.
Yes. Um,
um, so there was actually a study in Psychology Today. They came out at the beginning of the month, and it's basically saying that science has stopped believing in porn addiction.
mm,
That okay, so what they're saying is that they're not believing in porn addiction anymore, and to the extent in that they were, because they're realizing that um, the conflicts and struggles with porn are more morality and religion based,
hmm
shame, and
right.
not necessarily an issue with watching porn.
I would
So if
agree.
you
I've been I've been jerking off to porn since I was 13 years old, and I mean, I guess there's a strong argument to make that it did send me a little awry on things. Again, I'll go back to the business we're in, but um, I think, frankly, I have a much healthier sex life now than I ever have in my entire life. Um, and porn's, been I would say a significant part, but
yeah,
certainly a part of my life.
yeah.
And I guess John says they agree that just watching porn or even pleasing self to it does not detract from the drive to mate, procreate, make a family. Yeah, I think that's a ridiculous statement to make. That jerking off to porn or having easy access to what amounts to a stress reliever at this point.
Mhm.
I've certainly jerked off to relieve stress. Thankfully, I'm not as stressed as I used to be. Um, but yeah. Um, Migote says, when I got rejected a few weeks ago, I knew which partner to text for immediate comfort and which one for a chaotic distraction because we all complement each other in different ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think it's completely different than having another good friend or even best friend. I have several very, very good friends, and some people I consider to be my best friends. That does include, Mary Lou. So
Oh,
I think that this notion that you can only love one person is completely debunked.
yeah.
So
Mm-mm.
anyway, what's your favorite type of porn, Mary Lou? I know you're more of a literotica person.
Yeah. I'd have to say my like visual porn and uh is very much on the same link as is my literotica
Hmm.
porn per se. So yeah, I like to watch male on male porn.
Hmm.
Just me.
Julie says that her and John have watched porn together, and it's led to a bit of fun on occasion. I think that's more of a wink there. Um, they think that the thing keeping people from making families is a direction that the country is headed in. I
Hmm.
think that's true worldwide.
Right.
I think things are expensive, um, more complicated, and less stable.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would agree. I stopped at two children because I just two was a lot. So, my hat's off to anybody who raised 5 or 6 or 10. Like, geez.
Yeah, sometimes some of those stories, Bubbles, kind of like take a far right or far left, and I'm like, you lost me. Let me go find another one real quick. Oh my god!
I mean, yeah, trying to masturbate to literotica is just as frustrating as trying to masturbate to regular porn. Like, you're skimming through videos, like, oh, this one looks good, and you're a minute in, you're like, no, this one's terrible, and so
Mhm.
I feel the same way about literotica. Like, I start with the stories that had the little red box, which means that it's been upvoted
Yeah.
by a number of people. So I start there first. But that's not always a guarantee it's going to be a great story. Well, there you go, John.
Yeah.
That's another great thought, is that there are a lot of children that are needing to be fostered and
Mhm.
adopted. And that's true too. So Big Baka says that
Yeah.
years of access to porn is a bit ho hum. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I've literally watched some of the same porn 3, 4, 5, 100 times. So because it's yeah. Uh, you want to read that one?
Porn, like anything else in the wrong hands, see what I did there, can be a symptom if someone already has issues, but not a problem in and of itself. And that's how I view it,
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if anything, uh, if you're honest about the porn that you're watching, or you're watching it with your partner, it can bring up some discussions, you know, uh, that you may have not normally had. You know,
Right.
let's see. Bubbles says being the oldest child and babysitting all the little cousins solidified my decision to not procreate. Then, after heavily extensive research on pregnancy and child raising, I got spayed. Oh,
Oh, Bubbles.
so Julie says exactly Bubbles one, but also they just found a gyno who will do a partial hysterectomy uh, for them at 31 with no kids, and that will improve my quality of life from medical conditions that they've been dealing with. And that's another thing. Like sometimes, since we're now talking about the medical field, we know our body's best, and when someone, because of their religious beliefs or their beliefs on procreation and so forth, want to impart them on us and not allow us to have the procedures that we want, and the things that we know are going to benefit us in the long run because of other medical conditions,
Hmm.
that's unnecessary. It's like, I know my body. I should be able to advocate for what I want.
I couldn't agree more.
you
And,
know
and and anecdotally, I've heard stories from people who have either known somebody or personally have asked for their tubes tied, or
Mhm.
to make it so that they're not going to have children, and only to have doctors and or insurance companies
Yeah.
refuse to either do it and or pay for it, which I think is completely and utterly bonkers. um, I mean, just from an insurance company standpoint, I think it would be cheaper to not have kids,
Hmm.
you know
Yeah.
but I don't know,
Yeah.
way outside of my scope of knowledge and expertise.
Hmm.
So speaking of that, I will can we segue into something that I do have a little more expertise in?
Sure.
um, this weekend's events.
Yes.
Yeah, like how I did that.
Uh huh.
And we're right at 1 hour too. It's almost perfect timing.
Almost.
It's almost like we
Yes.
did this intentionally. So this weekend, this is a double play weekend, by the way.
It is.
It is a double play. And for those of you who don't know what a double play weekend is, it's basically you're getting a little special deal with the events this weekend. Friday is Cool Vibes, which is a hip hop R&B type event. So we'll be featuring. It's going to be one of our dance type themes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saturday is Gods and Goddesses. So sort of a toga-ish, dress up as your favorite god or goddess.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a special ticket price for both events. Now, typically on a Saturday, the cost per ticket per person is $40. On Friday, it's normally $30. But if you purchase a double play pass for the weekend, your total for both events is only $49. So you're basically getting Friday for only $9 or Saturday for $19. So however you want to slice it. So extra special this weekend. We've been doing this now for a few months, and our double play weekends really turn out well. It's actually one of the reasons why we've had so many solid events over the last almost 10 weeks now.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
Yay.
that's it. So just a couple other things. Elizabeth says, I'm pulling teeth now, and my baby is 16, and they're 48 years old. The baby shop is closed. And then Bubble says it took them 10 years to find a doctor to remove their tubes. And they cried in the office when the surgeon finally said that they would do it. That's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm. I about fell off the table when the doctor I saw suggested it. Good. Yeah. So.
Any other discussions we want to have? Anyone else want to talk about anything else before we go? Because I think we covered all the topics, at least that I wanted to talk about. Anything you wanted to talk about, Marilu? You've got a couple more tickets left for your massage class. That's
3 tickets left.
3 tickets left. That's in May, correct?
Yes. That's the week after Mother's Day.
For those of you who maybe didn't see the email that went out last week, I think the massage class is probably one of the best gifts you can give a partner, especially for Mother's Day. If your partner is a mother, whether it's a fur baby or a regular baby or no baby, I can't imagine where getting an hour-long massage by your partner, erotic massage, by the way, is a bad thing.
Yeah. But remember, I mean, we do ask them to switch off.
I think that if you're purchasing this as a gift for somebody,
you give them the full time.
Yeah, right? Give them the full time. There'll always be another class. Maybe we'll have another class and you can flip it around the other way. Shameless plug here.
There you go.
So
Big Bacchus. Yes.
Thank you, Big Bacchus. Yes, yeah. Just a quick reminder that ASN Magazine hosts an annual lifestyle awards. It does encompass some, we were talking about pornography, some categories in the porn industry, but the Body Shop was named, or what's the word I'm looking for? Nominated as Best Buy Party, which I'm just going to talk about really briefly. Just went on the schedule this past week, the end of June for Pride Month. We've changed things around this year. Instead of doing the Pride Prom the weekend after Pride weekend here in Pittsburgh, we're moving our Pride celebration to the end of the month. And Friday, this is also a double play weekend, by the way. So this is a double play weekend for June. Friday is Pink Pony Club, and Saturday is the buyout ball. So those 2 events are coming this coming June. So go to ASN Lifestyle Magazine. Make sure you vote for the shop. And Ronnie is best DJ or entertainer and DJ of the year, and Beth Darling for education, sex education. So
Yeah.
please go vote when you get time. And you can vote once a day.
Mm-hmm.
So
Between now and June 13th,
yeah.
I believe.
So
So,
we appreciate your support there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to end the live stream by saying this. If you've been watching this live stream or you're watching it for the first time and you're considering joining the shop, you can go to bodyshoppittsburgh.com and click the Apply Now button, fill out your application, watch your consent video, aka CAP, C-A-P-P video. We do require age verification before you get access to the website, so be sure to upload your information so that we can make sure that you are of age. Do you know how many states now are requiring age verification for porn, by the way? I think it's like 16 now or something.
Yeah, it's gone up.
It's gone up
quite a bit.
So, we're way ahead of the curve on this. So just expect that that's going to be a part of the process. If you're considering ethical non-monogamy or polyamory or some alternative relationship style, but maybe you're unsure about it or have questions or maybe having trouble navigating it with your partner, you can visit marilu.com.
Hello.
Book an appointment with a board-certified sexologist who specializes in those types of relationship styles.
Mm-hmm.
The cool part is that if you did the first part, which is join the body shop, all members, new and current, do have access to basically a free get to know you with Marilu. I think it's 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
20 minutes.
20 minutes, kind of get to know you. You can ask some questions and stuff. It's completely free for shop members. So,
yeah.
Did I miss anything?
No, I think we're good.
We are going to be in Hito this week.
Yep.
This is the Pineapple Week. It's a partial takeover celebrating bisexuality, male bisexuality, polyamory. We're going there as a part of safersex.com. We've been asked to participate as volunteers, and we'll be going back in October. I think there's still some room left, too.
Yeah.
In October. So if anybody's interested in joining Marilu and I again in October, that would be a good time. And then one other travel update, just a reminder, we're going to be at Naughty in New Orleans in July. So please, if you're interested, book that through our website. We get a small little stipend if you do end up booking, and we appreciate the help. It's a really great time. That's one of those other things that I would suggest is if you're in the lifestyle or considering it, Naughty in New Orleans should be on your bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. That's all I got.
Awesome.
Thanks, Big Bacchus.
Thank you.
Believe it or not, I mean, Hito, they're super great. The food is pretty top notch. Obviously, Ronnie goes there a lot. This will be our third time there, I think. Third at Hito. Third time at Hito.
Third.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily be naked all the time kind of person, so not exactly my jam, but I would say overall it's a pretty wonderful experience.
Yay. Hey, I understand, and I get the not wanting to be naked all the time, especially when, some of those bits can burn in that 80-degree sun. So
yeah, I've got the sunburns to prove that too.
So,
anyway. All right, folks. So listen, we appreciate you watching tonight. You guys jump in here every Monday. For those who've been watching from the beginning, Wednesday and now Monday, we will be back here. No, we will not be back here next Monday.
We won't. We'll be in Jamaica.
We will be in Jamaica. We have tried the live stream from there. If we end up getting a good signal, we might do it, but don't look for us next week. So we'll be back in 2 weeks, first weekend in May. That will be, I'll give you the date. We'll be back on Cinco de Mayo. So, all right, we're going to get the heck out of here. If we don't see you this weekend, we'll see you in 2 weeks back here on the live stream. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week, and you take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
this house. There's some hoes in 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 this house.
Certified freak, 7 days a week. That wet ass pussy good. My pull-out game weak. Ooh, yeah. I'm fucking with that wet ass. Swimming in it, baby. I'ma bring a bucket and a mop, darling. Give you everything I got. I'm falling. Yeah. I'm fucking with that wet ass. Pussy. Beat it up, catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard. Put your pussy in my face. Swipe my nose like a credit card. I'm on top, you wanna ride. Do a giggle while listen to spit in your mouth, girl, while you're looking in my eyes. Your pussy is wet, I'ma take a dive. I'ma tie you up like you're a prize. Let's role play our way disguise. I'ma park my Mack truck in your garage. Yeah. I'm fucking with that wet ass. Swimming in it, baby. Yeah. I'm fucking with that wet ass. Pussy. Gobble me, swallow me, drip it down inside of me. I gotta jump out before it gets inside of you. Tell me where to put it, but don't tell what you about to do. Talk your shit, baby, bite your lip, girl. Ask for a car while you riding that dick. Oh, I'm on top, you wanna ride. Do a giggle while it's inside. Spit in your mouth, girl, while you're looking in my eyes. Your pussy is wet, I'ma take a dive. I'ma tie you up like you're a prize. Let's role play our way disguise. I'ma park my